My stepmother tried to cut me out of my inheritance, so I revealed the secret folder my father left me right when she thought she'd won. When my father married Diane 3 years after my mother's death, I tried to be supportive. At 24, I was building my career as a junior architect, while Dad seemed happy for the first time since Mom died. Diane was cordial during my visits, but something felt off. She'd reschedule our family dinners last minute, accidentally delete Dad's messages to me, and question why I needed to check in so often. Dad was 62 with a successful construction company he'd built from nothing. I never worried about his assets, only his happiness. Everything changed when Dad was diagnosed with aggressive pancreatic cancer with only 6 months to live. I requested remote work and moved back to my hometown to be with him. Diane immediately implemented a visitation schedule limiting my time, claiming Dad needed rest during hours I wasn't allowed to visit. When I'd arrive, Dad was often heavily medicated, barely coherent. Diane was always present, interrupting whenever I asked about his treatment or finances, insisting I not stress him with business talk before ushering me out after exactly 30 minutes. 3 weeks before Dad passed, he texted asking me to come when Diane went to her weekly hair appointment. He was more lucid than I'd seen in months when he handed me a key, whispering instructions about a storage unit and telling me not to tell Diane. I slipped the key into my pocket just as Diane returned 2 hours early after Dad's death. Diane transformed completely. She excluded me from funeral planning, seated me in the second row at the service, and introduced me only as her husband's daughter. When I inquired about the will, she smiled tightly and said her lawyer would be in touch. 2 weeks later, her lawyer read a will, leaving everything to Diane except for $5,000 to me. This contradicted everything Dad had discussed about passing the business to me, his only child who had studied architecture specifically to complement his construction expertise. Diane watched my face as she announced she had the original will, claiming Edward had changed his mind during his illness after realizing who was really there for him. That night, I visited the storage facility. Unit 35 contained a single filing cabinet. In choosing my birth date as the combination, I found a folder labeled for my daughter. Inside was a video of my father explaining that Diane had been pressuring him to change his will for months. He pretended to comply while creating this backup plan. The folder contained his actual will, notarized and filed 6 months prior, leaving me the business and half the estate. It also included records of Diane's financial manipulations and a voice recording of her discussing how to keep him compliant with medication. Most damning was a letter from Dad's oncologist confirming he had been prescribed excessive pain medication doses based on Diane's reporting of his pain levels. I took everything to a lawyer who filed to contest the will, but rather than confronting Diane, I played along with her version of events, even signing her initial paperwork on our court date. Diane entered in designer black, perfectly playing the grieving widow. Her lawyer confidently presented the updated will, noting my apparent acceptance of its terms. When my lawyer revealed the contents of the storage unit, Diane's face drained of color. The judge immediately invalidated her submitted will. The real shock came when police officers entered to arrest Diane. The investigation into the medication discrepancies had produced enough evidence to charge her with elder abuse and fraud. As they led her away, she screamed accusations that I had fabricated everything. I now run my father's company, honoring his legacy through scholarships for young builders and an elder advocacy program that helps terminal patients protect their legal wishes. Dad's final gift wasn't just the inheritance pern. It was the lesson that preparation and documentation are the best weapons against those who mistake kindness for weakness.